All right, guys, this first problem here, or I guess it's really the 7th problem, has a lot of stuff going on. I've got to find out the vertex of the graph. I've got to determine whether it opens up or down, and I've got to determine the y-intercept. So I put it in Desmos. Like I said, guys, Desmos is our BFF here. So I'm taking this thing and putting it into Desmos exactly as it is written. So I can easily tell the vertex. The vertex is right here. 3, -16. 3, -16. Done. The vertex opens up. This one is an up. If it were down, it would go this way. The y-intercept is right here. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So the y-intercept is -7. And Pearson doesn't want that ordered pair. They only want the y value of that ordered pair. They only want this -7. So you type in -7 there. Now to sketch the graph, this one kind of sucks because I didn't give you a big enough graph. So I apologize for that. But in order for us to sketch this graph, we would have to go down to 3, -16. Since I can't get that point on there, I'm going to get these other points on here that I can see. So I'm going to move this a little bit so we can see it. I'm going to put -1, 0, and I'm going to put 7, 0, and I'm going to put 0, -7, and then I can kind of sketch my graph that way. Now, when you do this on the test, it's going to want you to enter in the vertex and the y-intercept in order to graph it. So that graphing function is going to make you do the vertex and the y-intercept. Okay, you guys, there's 2 ways to do this problem, and the first way is so long and you have to use the matrix calculator that I really prefer to use the Desmos calculator and to create the table. So remember, to create the table, we start right here with the plus sign, and when it drops down the box, we say a table, okay, and it looks like this. Now, these are all the x values, 0, 2, and 4. They're the first numbers, 0, 2, and 4. So I enter those in. These are all the y values, 5, 11, and 1. So I enter those in, 5, 11, and 1. This is the part that you got to remember. So you do y sub 1, so it's this little 1. When you type in the little 1 on Desmos, it automatically puts it as a subscript. X squared, y sub 1, and then the tilde button. The tilde is below your escape key on your keyboard, or if you're on the Desmos keyboard and you're using that one, it is once you shift to the ABC keyboard, it's at the bottom row, then plus BX sub 1 plus C. And then it tells me my A, B, and C right here. Look, A, B, C. And then I plug it into this equation. So again, that's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So I plug those each in. So I plug in A, and A in this case is -2. Then I plug in, what does B equal? So B is equal to 7. So I plug in a 7, and then I plug in what C equals. And C is equal to 5. And that is what I'm going to plug in for my answer on Savas. Okay, so this one we're going to factor the quadratic. So I taught my students how to do the chart. You may have seen they call it the X box. So it goes -10 here, and it goes a -3 here. And so what I told my kids is that I like to write it out. So I do -10 and -3. I'm looking for things that are going to multiply to give me -10, but they're going to add up to give me -3. So if I list those things, that would be 1 and 10 or 2 and 5. Now, since this is a -3, that means that the bigger of the 2 number pairs on the left-hand side are the ones that have to be negative. So that's going to give me 2 and -5 would give me -3. You can use your calculator to come up with those numbers. So that's 2 and -5. So then I just take those guys and write x plus 2 and x minus 5. And that's it. On this one, we have to actually solve. So yay, let's use Desmos, right? So the issue here becomes that this is not equal to 0. So the first thing I have to do is I have to add 18 to both sides to make it equal to 0. So that would cancel and I'd get 0 over here. And then 18 doesn't have any friends on the left side. So we feel bad for 18, but he has to go and sit by himself at lunch because there's nobody that looks just like him. And we don't segregate in life, but we do segregate in math. And so 18 cannot go with anybody else. 18 has to be all alone. So that is exactly what I put into my calculator, my Desmos. X squared plus 9x plus 18. Don't put the equal 0, guys. If you put the equal 0, it's going to look funny, and then you're going to get confused. Just put in the part that's on the left-hand side there. That gives me two solutions. That gives me this one right here and this one right here when I look at the graph. It's where it crosses the x-axis. So that means that this solution is x equals, and I only take the x. Remember, it's x equals, so I just take x, -6, and x equals -3. So this one on your test is going to be multiple choice. So you'll be able to pick the answer. If it wasn't multiple choice, you would need to put them in. It'll say something like, let's see, let me do a different color. It'll say something like x equals, and then you'll have a box to fill in, and you would put it in as -6, comma, -3, and the order doesn't make any difference at all. All right, so this one again, super easy. Plug it into Desmos. It's already solved and equal to 0, so all we have to do is look for the zeros. So the zeros are right here and right here. It's where it crosses the x-axis. Remember, the x-axis is this line right here. So this would be x equals, and then I would have my box, and what I'm going to put in is just the x value. So I'm only putting in this guy and this guy. So just the x parts of that. So that would be -4 and +2. All right, this last one you can do a few different ways, and I'll show you the way that we learned in Mr. Hackey's video. So the first thing that we would do is we would do this a times c. So 3 times 8, which is 24. And so we want factors of 24 that add up to give us -14. So that's 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, or 4 and 6. Now I know that since this is a -14, that both of the numbers are going to have to be negative in order to get a -14 and a +24. So that means all of these are going to be negative over here. So -25, -14, bam, I'm done. I don't have to do any more. Good. So if you're more of the Xbox kind of guy or gal, you might have done this, 24 and -14, and then you would have gotten -2 and -12. Now I have to do what's called splitting the middle term. So I have to take the 3x squared, and then I got to take these two guys and split it, -2x minus 12x, and then keep that 8 on the end. Then I've got to group them together, so these guys go together and these guys go together, and I've got to factor out a GCF. The GCF on the first one is just an x. So whatever I factor out goes out in front of the parentheses, and what I get when I divide goes inside. So x squared divided by x is just a 3x, and 2x divided by x cancels, so I have a -2. Now I always tell my kids that these are twins and trash. So I want my next pair, when I factor it, to be twins with this guy. So I'm looking at this, and it looks to me like they're both divisible by 4. But if I divide 8 by 4, I'm going to get a +2, and I really want a -2, because remember, I want to be twins with this one. So I'm going to divide by a -4. What I divide by comes out in front of the parentheses, and what happens when I divide goes inside. Well, I want it to be the same, so I'm basically just double checking. So -12 divided by -4 is a +3, and the x tags along. 8 divided by -4 is a -2, and see, that guy matches. So my twins, I write down one time, so that would be 3x minus 2, and then my trash is what I took out. So you take out the trash, right? So x minus 4 is my trash. So I'm looking up here, and that should be letter A. Now, if that is not your jam and you're having struggles with that one, you can also take these answer choices and you can double distribute, or you may have learned FOIL, unfortunately, and you can check each one of these by double distributing to see which one gives you this guy back from the very beginning, okay? I'm not going to show you how to do that. If you do need help with that, come to tutoring and somebody can help you. I think that's it. Good luck on your test, friends.